When was the last time you needed help and didn't ask for it? You wanted to, but somehow it felt wrong. There is a certain type of person many of us recognize immediately. They struggle quietly. They figure things out on their own. When asked if they're okay, they say yes, convincingly. Not because they are, but because asking for help never seems like a real option. These are the people who would rather stay up all night solving a problem than admit they don't know what to do. The ones who listen carefully to others' struggles but rarely offer their own. On the surface, this looks like strength, independence, self-reliance. But psychologically, the story is more layered. For many, the habit begins early. Asking for help is not a neutral act. It is learned as either safe or risky. In environments where needs were dismissed, minimized, or met with irritation, the nervous system adapts. The child learns that dependency leads to disappointment, shame, or vulnerability without reward. Over time, self-sufficiency becomes not just a skill, but a defense. Psychologists sometimes describe this through attachment theory. People with avoidant attachment styles often internalize the belief that relying on others is dangerous. They don't necessarily distrust everyone consciously. Instead, their body reacts to vulnerability as something to be managed privately. Help feels intrusive. Needing feels like failure. There is also a strong identity component. For some, the one who handles things becomes a core self-concept. They are the responsible one, the fixer, the steady presence. Asking for help would fracture that image, not only in others' eyes but in their own. The ego resists this threat by doubling down on competence. But competence has limits, and when life exceeds them, illness, grief, burnout, loss, these individuals don't suddenly become comfortable reaching out. Instead, they often withdraw further. Stress increases self-reliance rather than softening it. What looks like strength from the outside can feel like isolation on the inside. There's also an unspoken fear beneath the behavior. If I ask for help and am rejected, it confirms something deeply personal, that my needs are too much or that I don't matter enough. Avoiding help protects against that possibility entirely. You can't be turned down if you never ask. Sometimes this pattern is reinforced socially. We praise independence relentlessly. We admire people who handle everything and rarely question the cost. The person who never asks for help is often rewarded with trust, responsibility, and admiration, all of which make the habit harder to break. The world quietly confirms the belief. You're valued when you don't need anything. Yet over time, something erodes. Emotional fatigue, a sense of carrying life alone, relationships that feel asymmetrical, where support flows outward but rarely inward. These individuals may feel unseen, even though they are admired. The irony is painful. They want to be understood, but revealing need feels like a betrayal of who they are supposed to be. Change, when it comes, rarely arrives as a bold decision to be more vulnerable. It usually begins with necessity, a moment when self-sufficiency fails, when the cost of doing everything alone becomes greater than the fear of asking, often accompanied by discomfort, embarrassment, or grief. Learning to ask for help is realizing that needing doesn't erase your worth, that competence and vulnerability are not opposites, that connection is not a transaction where strength must be earned by silence. Healthy interdependence is a choice to let others contribute. You allow support without turning it into debt or shame. People who never ask for help are often deeply responsible, deeply loyal, and deeply afraid of being a burden. What they need most is permission from themselves to be human in the presence of others, and perhaps the quiet realization that strength was never about doing everything alone, but about knowing when you no longer have to.